Hey, welcome back to Trek on the Tube. That's right, we're back at it. We're talking about Star Trek, the original series, in the release order as usual, so that makes it Season 1, Episode 14, Balance of Terror. Balance of Terror. A few things we need to go over before the video begins. First of all, yes, the hair is out of control, but I will fix it eventually at some point. Also, I will be announcing the winner to my Star Trek Picard Blu-ray giveaway at the end of this video. Also, for those of you that are new to these reviews, the way I structure them is basically first we talk about my thoughts, my opinions on the story itself, the episode itself, and then we dive into the Easter eggs and references that I could find to previous episodes of the show. And then, of course, we do a comparison between the original version and the remastered version that we have today. Alright, it's review time, so let's jump right in. And, I mean, hot damn, was this a good episode. Like, seriously good. Great, even. Balance of Terror was a brilliantly executed, fantastically acted, visually spectacular battle of the wits in space, and come on, it doesn't get much better than that. For starters, the plot itself was brilliant. Having these two captains, these two commanders, battle it out, but not with explosions and muscle, oh no, rather with their tactics and skill, with their intelligence. It was just a wonderful setting for this space-based show. Mark Lenard, our guest actor, did a great job as the Romulan commander, and Shatner killed it as Captain Kirk. Both performances were nuanced and deep, the characters were equally cunning and dangerous, driven by their sense of duty, and yet genuinely concerned for the safety of their respective crews, as well as fully preoccupied by the gravity of their situation. I loved them and I loved their dynamic so much. Speaking of nuanced and deep, I could say just as much about the world building we got. Not only were we introduced to an entirely new species, the Romulans, but we also got so much information about who they are, who they were, why relations between them and us, so to speak, are so tense. God, it was good. There's just so much to unpack. First, these Romulans look exactly like Vulcans, and that doesn't do wonders to help the onboard morale or interspecies relations, because some officers feel that, for this reason, Spock might need to explain himself. Especially considering it's been established these Romulans have been at war with our favorite space organization in recent years. So naturally, there is still palpable animosity. Some people have lost friends or family in this past war. That's why the neutral zone exists. A super long, seemingly quite large, and I'm assuming also very high because we're talking in 3 dimensions here, strip of space that separates both these powers. It's more than a border, it's a giant no man's land of some kind. Anyway, the world building is marvelous because in addition to all this information we get about these people, there's also visuals to accompany it. From the exterior shots of their ship to what their bridge looks like, and their uniforms, and then that very world building, that very creativity pushes the storytelling that bit further with what we mentioned earlier, the doubts people have about Spock. Yes, this is the future. Yes, humanity seems to have grown up and a great many things have changed, but it was still amazing to see Kirk tell his officer to leave the bigotry in his quarters. The conflict felt like a very real-world situation. Moving away from the Romulans for a second, but still keeping in the world-building theme, the episode starts off in a chapel of some kind. First of all, that tells us that at least some forms of religion have made it into this distant future, but it was also nice to see just, a couple. I don't know why, but it grounded this whole story even more somehow to have these fiancés living through it all. It's not often we get to see an actual relationship outside of, the odd character that gets involved with one of our heroes, so I appreciated that. I'm so sorry if it feels like I'm all over the place with this review, but I don't know, it's hard to structure my thoughts. I loved it a lot, and so much was happening. It was so dense. That being said, it was never over the top. No one was ever screaming exposition at the screen. There wasn't any crazy, insane action. Everything was balanced just right. The pacing was very well handled, and it was the thrill of it all that was so captivating. I do have some minor complaints, of course, you know me. Nothing big, and maybe they're not even complaints, just questions. You see, these Romulans have what they call cloaking technology, something that enables them to become invisible, and that is the coolest thing ever, but our hero ship, the Enterprise, doesn't have that. So I did find it a bit bizarre when they became undetectable just because they became motionless. Oh, and the whole not making a sound thing, I don't know. Powering down the ship, yes, that makes sense. You want to avoid that energy output, but not speaking, not making a sound, that was a little weird. Like the beeping on the bridge causes them to be detected, come on. Although I do understand how those elements, as unrealistic as they may seem, add to the ambiance, to the vibe of the story being told. Because yeah, Balance of Terror was a suspenseful, thrilling space game of chess. A much better game of chess than the Corbomite maneuver was, in my opinion, even if I did enjoy that episode very much as well. I could go on for just ages throwing praise at this thing. The episode was amazing all around. To finish off with the world building though, we learned that the Romulan homeworld is called Romulus and that it has a sister planet called Remus. The Romulans are apparently led by a praetor. This is all fascinating, and also Captain Kirk says that the Enterprise is expendable, which is bold and honorable, I guess, but pretty scary when you think about it. From a technological standpoint, it was interesting to learn that one can just override the other vessel's view screen and start watching what's going on the enemy ship. I do think they pulled that off a bit too easily, but I mean, why not? And the weapons the Enterprise used weren't fired from the bridge this time around. Someone had to fire them from the engineering section, which I found quite bizarre, but if we're being completely honest, that was also probably just for plot convenience. They did that because they needed that danger. They needed that person in danger, but you know, hey, it worked. I guess I'll end the review by mentioning that both the conference room scene aboard the Enterprise and the entire sequence that happened on the Romulan vessel were great. It was well directed, the performances were stellar, it was visually stunning. It gets 18 thumbs ups. And so we move right on to the comparison between the remastered version and the original version because, well, there are no Easter eggs to go over this time around. For starters, all of the star fields have been updated. Not only do they look better, but now all of the stars are passing the ships in the right direction. We then move on to our good old Enterprise. As usual, every shot has been updated and the original model has been replaced by CGI. Some of these angles are different, you know, more dynamic. I can't say I'm displeased with this. Before I started my rewatch, I wasn't convinced it was needed, but I don't know, I'm turning around on that now. I quite like these updated Enterprise shots. Which leads us right into the Romulan ship. It was also replaced by a CG counterpart, which, look, I'm gonna be honest, it does look pretty damn good. Again, some of the camera angles were changed to give every shot a bit more, I guess, action. The asteroid and its blue tail were changed with particles added. Here's what that looks like. And then those weapons were changed as well. The big red Romulan ball of death was updated, as you can see, and so were those Enterprise proximity phases we talked about earlier. You know what's interesting? The original effect for the proximity phases is like nothing this show had ever given us before. And when they did the remaster, I feel like they went for a more traditional aesthetic, almost as if they were driven by a desire to normalize the weapons, which is honorable and, like, if I'm honest, is usually something that I would actually like and appreciate. I'm someone that really loves that continuity and that coherence, but for some reason I don't like, I don't know, I don't like the beam that they did. I prefer the original, as odd as it is. The final changes are some of the transitions. They were redone, and then of course, generally speaking, all of the colors throughout the episode look way better, and that makes all the sets and costumes pop. Alright, that's it for the review. Thank you so much for watching, but wait, there's one thing left. I have to talk about the winner for the Star Trek Picard Blu-ray giveaway. Boom! Congratulations, JK, yes, you are the winner. You've been selected, you've been randomly picked by the random comment picker of the YouTube, of the internet. So here we go, you get this. We'll get in contact as soon as possible and I'll send that over to you. So yeah, congratulations. Alright, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. As I said before, what do you think of Balance of Terror? Do you love it as much as me? Are you sold on the new remastered visual effects? I gotta admit, I kinda am. Although at this point, I still would do my full rewatch of the original series in the kind of original version, which is what I'm doing. as it stands. Alright, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. There's so many things to do, but more importantly, subscribe. And most importantly, live long and prosper. Thank you so much to the channel patrons. Oh, and I heard from Nick. I heard from Kitwalski. He's doing fine. Alright, live long and prosper.